All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Lou Baldwin, your 2025 North Carolina Realtors Commercial Committee Chair. And one of our important goals for this year is to bring you quality commercial real estate education. And I think we're taking a great step forward with that today. We're very excited to host today's commercial education session titled Unlocking RPR Commercial from Property Search to Prospecting Power and More. And we're glad to welcome RPR Training Manager Janelle Van, who will be leading today's session. Welcome, Janelle.
Thank you so much, Lou, for having me today.
Janelle is from the Tampa Bay area. She's been with RPR for 5 years. She grew her own real estate firm to over 50 agents at one point in a previous part of her experience in her career. And more recently, she's had the experience of having two grandchildren in the last 2 days. So we're very fortunate that she found time away from those grandbabies to be with us today. Congratulations on that, Janelle.
Thank you. It's certainly a highlight of my life to welcome two little boys in the last 2 days. So exciting to be here, but excited to go look at baby pictures too.
Excellent. Well, Janelle is going to walk us through a comprehensive overview of RPR, including navigating the full RPR homepage, conducting property searches, using scriptwriter tools, customizing and sharing commercial reports, a brief tour of creating a geographic farm list using public record data. So, Janelle, thank you again for being with us and coordinating this session for our North Carolina Realtor members, and we look forward to having you guide us through these valuable RPR commercial tools and insights. And so, thank you again, and I'll turn it over to you.
All righty. Thank you for that intro, Lou. It's my true pleasure to be here. I also just want to introduce Ernie Bottom. He's also on the call today with me from RPR. He's one of our industry relations managers, and we just love having him here today, backing me up. So he will be answering some questions as they come through. Please don't be shy. It's a lot more fun of a class if you are engaged and ask questions. I'm happy to back up, move forward, whatever you want me to do, just let me know. All right. Today's class is called Unlocking RPR Commercial from Property Search to Prospecting Power and More. I will let you know that this is one of 12 different RPR webinars that we do offer each and every month. If you are interested in learning more about some of the RPR platform, whether you're looking to craft CMAs or maybe you're looking to analyze some additional commercial data through our strategic site selection tools, I'm going to kind of touch on that a little bit today, but we do offer two very comprehensive mobile app classes as well as some great script writing AI tool classes as well. So I'll take you there at the end of class and show you where the Learning Center is. You can access marketing materials as well as previous recordings. So once again, thank you for having me today. We are recording today's session, and everybody that has joined will go ahead and get a copy of that. I always like to begin with a quick overview about what RPR is. We are Realtors Property Resource, and we are a national database for both residential and commercial properties. We're built exclusively for real estate professionals. RPR is included in your NAR membership dues, and there is no consumer access. So in terms of what we actually are here at RPR is a one-stop platform for all of your research and marketing needs, whether you're working with a seller or a buyer, or you're just getting started and you're looking to grow your real estate business, whether it's an online campaign or maybe a direct mail campaign. It's really truly a one-stop platform for all of that great research, and it's a great place for you to get started with some of your marketing materials that I'm going to show you today in RPR. So that's a quick overview of what we are. Today is our agenda. We're going to take a look at this agenda and see why we're going to move relatively quickly through some of this beginning stages of our homepage, but we're going to start off talking about the commercial data partnerships that we rely on here at RPR. Now, we do have partnerships with about 98% of the MLSs nationwide, and then we're going to focus on our commercial information exchange partnerships in just a few moments. We do not have directed data input from realtors into RPR, so we rely heavily on those data partnerships to provide you with all of that great data. We're going to talk about getting your My Market set up on your homepage. I'm going to go through a few slides before we launch into the live site, so bear with me while we kind of set this all up, but we are going to focus on our homepage, getting that My Market set up where you can monitor recent commercial activity. We're going to look at some of our map tools, top two questions we get from commercial investors, especially when they're looking for retail space, are traffic counts, nearby businesses, points of interest, which we can apply to our map. And I'm going to show you how to do that. And a lot of times we'll get folks that are interested in retail and they'll say, well, we want to know what the daily traffic counts are, but we also are very concerned about parking. So we have the ability to research properties not only from the road view, but we also have satellite views where we can kind of zoom in and see what the parking situation is like. So we're going to take a look at points of interest. Why do I bring up points of interest? Because a lot of times with retail space, they like to be near like-minded businesses. So oftentimes you'll see a Starbucks close to a Dunkin' Donuts. That's what we can do for you today. We can show you on the map where nearby points of interest are in relation to a subject property. We're also going to look at doing some basic property searches for commercial property. We're also going to go off market. I'm going to take you through a geographic farm list. We're going to go ahead and build mailing labels. You get 2,000 mailing labels per month as part of your RPR membership. And I want to show you how to create those and use them. And not only once we get to the point of crafting that geographic farm list, then you've got all of these different reports or newsletters or AI scripts that you can use as part of your direct mail campaign. So we've got lots to cover. I did mention the AI script writing tool. We're going to focus a little bit on that and some of the resources that you can use there to not only educate yourself, your customers, but also use for part of your marketing campaign. We're also going to take a look at tenant data. If there is tenant data accessible on a subject property, I'm going to show you exactly where you can access that. And when we get into a subject property, you can literally review everything your buyers could possibly need to know about that property. I've already mentioned traffic counts, but you also have tax ID, you've got mortgage, you've got property detail information, previous sale activity, pretty much a one-stop platform for all of your research and marketing needs. Now, I mentioned the commercial data partnerships. We have over 864,000 on market commercial properties in RPR, and you have access to 56 million off market commercial properties. So, if you are looking to grow your business and you want to go off market and pull those properties that are not actively listed and maybe grow your farm area, you can absolutely access that here on our site. And I am going to walk you through that entire process. Now, take a look at these commercial data partnerships, and I'm going to go ahead off camera and just let you focus on the content that we're looking at the screen here now. We have for sale and for lease data partners. Some of those include Crexi, Brevitas, by proxy. We have CompStack. I love CompStack because this is something that a lot of our commercial realtors struggle with sometimes, is looking for comps for properties if they're getting ready to go on a listing presentation, or you've got a buyer ready to make an offer. You want to research recently sold and leased properties. I'm going to show you where you can access CompStack today on our RPR site from a subject property. So you can also see we've got off-market property data. We have our site selection data. This is one of my favorite parts of our commercial presentation. With our site selection data, we get that information from Esri. So what you can do here in RPR, let's say we're working in the Wilmington area and you have an investor coming in to maybe open up a specific business, you can actually show on the map exactly the best locations for that business to succeed based on the consumer attributes that the retail owner is looking to attract. So we take some of those attributes, pop them into RPR, and I'm going to show you exactly on the map where our business model has the greatest chance to thrive. So that data is going to come to us from Esri. We have a financial analysis tool in our RPR commercial platform called Valuate, where you can perform a short or a long-term investment analysis. So if you're just struggling with how to show what a flip is going to look like or what a 10-year hold is going to look like, you can access Valuate from an on-market property as well as an off-market property. Our traffic count partnership is with Calibrate. We're going to look at traffic counts today, and I'm going to show you on the map how quick and easy you can analyze local daily traffic counts. You've got tenant data coming to us from SMR Research. Climate risk analysis. We have two different options for you here. From a subject property, you can perform a climate risk assessment using either Climate Check or First Street. These are property specific. So if you have an investor looking to open up a business and you're trying to educate them on the local flood, fire risks, flood zones, you've got all of that data available through Climate Check, and then First Street. Now, we also have a lot of data coming to us from the US Census Bureau. I've already mentioned Esri, and then our points of interest, where we're going to go and apply those on the map. That is through a partnership with Precisely. So that's a quick glimpse at some of our commercial data partnerships. Remember, there's no direct data input from Realtors into RPR. So if you see something that's wrong, we want to hear from you. Let us know about it. We do have a member support team that is open 7 days a week. So remember that. Occasionally, public record data can be off, or there is a sales information that may be not exactly correct. You can always report that to us through our member support team. Now, that being said, with RPR commercial, we can search both on-market properties. We can go off-market if we're going on a listing presentation. We can perform that strategic site selection that I mentioned earlier. And I am going to really quickly try to go through one of those today because it's super fascinating. We are going to look at custom trade area reports that you can do from a subject property, or you can run a trade area report from a location. So we're going to look at some of that data. You can perform your investment analysis. And then, of course, most importantly, probably is the ability to find new clients through some of our prospecting content. Now, let's just talk a few moments about the Esri Tapestry segmentation, what that's going to look like in RPR. It is going to offer users a detailed descriptions of America's neighborhoods, all divided into distinct segments based on their spending habits, their demographic composition. All of this data can really help guide our commercial investors make an informed decision about where they would like to open up their business or whatever business model they're looking for. We can go ahead and analyze all of these different neighborhoods and their socioeconomic and demographic compositions. Now, on your screen, you can see over to the right, there is a trade area report. You can see the top 5 tapestry segments. This is so easy to run and analyze. And once we get to the point where we're creating a trade area report, it is going to break down literally all of the spending habits, the lifestyle habits of the folks that live in a certain location. So it's pretty fascinating, fun to analyze, and I am going to walk you through the process of generating one of these trade area reports today. Now, with RPR Mobile, I'm going to give you a moment to take the phone that's probably nearby, grab that QR code. With RPR Mobile, you can search properties, whether they're actively listed or off market, but you also see there are many layers to mobile. You can see on your screen, you can access Valuate, Comp Stack, Climate Check, some of those partnerships that I mentioned earlier. But most importantly, when you are working with a buyer and they're ready to make an offer, but they have questions about the area, you can go ahead and run all of those commercial reports that I mentioned directly from RPR Mobile. And not only do we make them shareable, but you can airdrop these, you can text them, you can post them to your website. Plenty of different opportunities for you. My favorite thing to mention with RPR Mobile is that it's a great opportunity for you to answer and educate your consumer or your buyer while you're still with them. Never have to say, let me get back to you on that. We can answer all of those questions right from RPR Mobile. So there's the QR code. I'm going to move along. If anybody needs me to bring that back up, I will. But also keep in mind, you can just go to your app store and look for the RPR Mobile icon. Now, a quick glimpse at what RPR Mobile is going to look like from a commercial perspective. This is an on-market property. You can see the subject property actively listed for $2.5 million. You've got your satellite views, your street views, historical data, but note the AI tool down at the bottom. This is not only going to generate content about a subject property, it's also going to bring in local trade area data. So if I have a buyer interested in this subject property, again, this is just a slide deck. We're going to get to the live set in just a few moments. But if my buyer is interested in making an offer on this, I could generate a quick AI script, share with them the local data as far as what's happening in the trade area, as well as what's happening on that subject property. So it's kind of a really great resource, whether you're looking to market this listing or you've got a buyer ready to make an offer on it. Also from mobile, you can see you can search properties that are actively listed for sale, for lease, and you can also go to the public records database. You also have all of these different property types that you can search, whether you're on the desktop or the mobile. And one more cool thing, with the mobile and the desktop, they auto sync. So if you're on your mobile and you have a property that you're really analyzing, when you get back to the desktop, hopefully to write your offer, all of that information will automatically sync up to the desktop when you log in. And then, of course, you've got your nearby points of interest that you can apply to your map, and you can generate a whole bunch of great reports that you can easily share with your clients. Okay, Ernie, any questions out there? Let's go ahead and log into our site. Let me know if there are any questions before we move on.
Nope, so far it is quiet, but I'm ready. I'm standing by.
All right, perfect. Okay, so we are looking at the RPR homepage. We are focused on the top left of our screen right now. We see the RPR logo. For you, when you are creating content in RPR, we want to make sure that your broker is represented. So if you do not see your brokerage logo on the top left of your screen, I want you to go ahead and let Ernie know. He will get you a link to share with your broker to get that branding set up. Now, obviously, when we're doing work in RPR, it really doesn't matter whether the logo is RPR's or your MLS or your broker. But when we start creating client-facing content, that's when it's really going to matter. So we want to make sure that broker's branding is front and center. So please make sure that you reach out to Ernie. And then for all my realtors out there, over on the top right, we've got our own profile. We click on that little drop-down arrow. We head on down to profile. You can upload your photo, your own personal logo, but make sure your contact information is accurate. Make sure your phone, email addresses, websites, you can add as many as you would like. Also, make sure you add your license number. We're talking about presenting some of this information to our clients. Add that license number. It will appear on the cover letter of all of the reports that you generate in RPR. So profile, license number, and then make sure you click on save at the top, and you are now good to go to start researching properties in RPR. Now let's go to the top. We're going to go back to our home page. We are going to start off with our research tab. So all of these tabs we're going to focus on very, very slowly. So if you have a question, I really want to encourage you to reach out to Ernie in the chat or in the Q&A. We're going to start off with our research tab. And when we click this drop-down arrow, check out the different research opportunities that we have. Property searches, map searches. But down at the bottom, this is where you access your commercial site selection. Now, we are going to run one of these very quickly today because this is something that we cover in our more advanced commercial class, but it's too cool for me not to show it. So there is the ability, let's say, for instance, you have a buyer relocating to Wilmington and they want to open up a yoga studio or a med spa. We can pop in 5 attributes of that specific business model and show them exactly on the map the best locations for that business to succeed. So that's going to be in our commercial site selection. We're going to save that for the end. Our commercial trade area data is also available from our research tab. However, it's also available from a subject property. So you have many different ways to access this trade area data. And then you've got your commercial map insight tools. So why don't we go ahead and begin with a commercial trade area search, starting here. Click on commercial trade area. And if there's a zip code out there that someone would like to share, I'll be happy to go ahead and pop that in. Let me know in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to go to Wilmington. Do we have any zip codes out there, Ernie, that someone wants me to show?
Yeah, we have 27358.
27358, Summerfield, North Carolina. Okay, we are going to analyze the commercial trade area a couple of different times today, but we're going to start. Thank you. Shout out to my friend that gave me that zip code. We're going to go to 27358. Notice when I clicked on my research tab, top of my screen, went to commercial trade areas, I had the option of entering in a county, a city, a zip code, or even a neighborhood. Now, I used the 27358 zip code. You have all of these different options. Now, let's take a look at what this data is telling us about Summerfield, North Carolina. 27358, we've got a median household income of 119.3. The median age range is 44.6. The total population is 15.9. And the first dominant segment, according to Esri, is our professional pride. That's the #1 dominant segment for Summerfield. Now, we're going to unpack a lot of this information. Over to the right, I want you to note that we have our script writing tool. Whenever you are looking at this trade area data, you'll have the ability to create a script specifically aligned with all of that attributes. So you've got under our trade area script writing tool, your tone, your audience selection, check it out, professional, friendly, confident. Your audience, this is really important, whether you're working with investors or tenants, landlords, property managers. You select your audience, you select your tone, and then you decide which one of these action items you want to take. So remember, the script writing tool is aligned with your commercial trade area data. So it's very easy to craft, and it's a great way for you to grow your business. So let's say, for instance, you're doing a direct mail campaign. So maybe you go ahead and click on one page summary, go down to the bottom, you can generate the content. And it's going to take about 30 seconds, maybe less, to go ahead and give me a nice little summary of what's happening in that specific zip code. And once this generates, and there it is, took less than 20 seconds, there's an executive summary specific to Summerfield, North Carolina. 27358 offers a compelling opportunity for who? Investors and developers, because I made that my selection when I picked on my script writing audience. So with its stable market and affluent demographic trends, the area's significant net worth and steady population growth create a fertile ground for development. Now remember, this is AI. It's specific to that location. Always read it before you copy and paste this over to social media or use this as a direct mail marketing piece. Make sure you read it, make sure you understand it. The goal with the script writing tool is to explain the data and what it means to the audience that you're working with. So for example, we're working with investors. The local employment landscape is promising, with a focus on professional management, business, and financial roles. Low unemployment rate. So you could literally take this, you can copy and paste it, you can export it to a PDF, export it to a Word document. But most importantly, the goal here is to educate the investors and developers on what is happening in that trade area location. Now, one more cool thing, you've got a social video, you've got a nice email, you also have a social media card. Let me show you this real quick. If I click on social media card, and we use the word social media, but you can go ahead and use these cards wherever you are marketing yourself, whatever website or blog you're working with. Select your background and check it out. You've got all of these different landscape options, backdrops, beautiful. I'm going to go in and I'm going to select, let's go down here and find something pretty. There is a perfect postcard that I could copy and paste to social media. But most importantly, it's got some of those consumer attributes, the daytime population density, the average household income, unemployment rate, and the median home value. You can copy and paste this entire card to social, to your website, or even print it and use it as part of a direct mail campaign. One more thing, you can share it with a caption. So we're going to go ahead and just show you what that looks like. And then we're going to move on to some property searches. I love to show off our script writing tool because it's a great way for you to grow your business. It doesn't cost you anything. And these captions, you can generate up to 5, are all very specific to your local market. So if you're curious about Summerfield's market potential, with over 4,000 residents in their 20s and a median home surge, it's a prime spot for development. So you've got hashtags, you've got emojis, and you can copy and paste any of these, or you can save and share down at the bottom. If I save and share, this entire caption and the postcard will now be stored for me on my media library. Okay, so you've got your QR code. Show you what that looks like. Pretty cool. Close this guy out. Download. If I want to look at the social media card and I just want to post it, there it is. I'll just drag it on over and show you what that looks like. So lots of great options for you. It says social media card, but that doesn't mean you can't post it to your own website. Now remember, anytime you create an AI script writing tool, it's always going to be stored for you in your media library. So there's the card that I just created. I created a little video a little bit earlier. If we have time, maybe we can show that a little bit later. So just remember, return to scriptwriter. Whenever we are looking at the trade area data, We ran a commercial trade area for 27358. This is the attribute summary. I had my script writing tool to the right. Now let's talk a little bit more about the data for 27358. As I scroll down, I've got the demographic facts and stats, age, marriage, home values. Let's take a look at the home values. I have a feeling they're going to be pretty high. Yeah, there it is. 613 is the median estimated home value for that zip code. Now, as I scroll down, you're going to see a tremendous amount of additional data, the median list price, the 12-month change in estimated home value. But really what we're looking for is this consumer segmentation data. So if I go down here and I click on view more details, I have my top 5 tapestry segments. We've got my life mode, established, well-educated, well-traveled married couples, the urbanization, suburban periphery, and then my top segments, professional pride, workday drive, the southern satellites. We don't come up with these names. These are given to us by Esri. You can see by the help button. However, each one of these segments is going to show you the employment, the education, even their preferred activities. What do they like to drive? These folks own 3 or more vehicles. They're avid readers. They hold 401ks. When we package all of this trade area data in a report, and I'm going to show you that next, each one of these segments that you're seeing on your screen, it's in a side-by-side view. But when we get to the point of creating our report, you're going to get a full page dedicated to each tapestry segment. And then as I scroll down, I also have additional trade areas nearby. There's Greensboro. We've got, let's see, Oak Ridge. And it's kind of giving you a little trade area comparison.
Janelle?
Yes, sir.
We had a couple of folks who said that when they tried it, the social media card showed residential data. Is that because they didn't select commercial on the homepage, or?
That is absolutely right. So thank you for bringing that up. I have got my RPR homepage defaulted to commercial, and it's right here on the top left. If you are on residential, you're going to see an entirely different display, different presentation altogether. So yes, we do have script writing tools and social media cards for residential. But for commercial, to access that trade area data, we need to have our toggle set to commercial.
Thanks, Janelle.
You're welcome. Thank you for that. So just to recap, make sure you're toggled down to commercial. We're going to get into some searching here in a moment. Click on research. We went into our commercial trade area down at the bottom. And remember, you can access trade area data from a property as well. But if you just want to quickly analyze the commercial trade area for a location, I'm going to leave that zip code. And I'm going to go to Wilmington, North Carolina now. There it is. I typed in the city. And now I'm getting an entirely new set of trade area data. There's the median household income, the median age range at 38. And look at the population. A lot more people live here than in that previous location that we were researching. The first dominant segment in Wilmington appears to be college towns. Demographic facts and stats. Let's check out the home values over there. Looking at about 435,000. And then as we scroll down again, we've got all of that great consumer segmentation data. Scholars and patriots. Metro cities is the urbanization. And then, of course, our top tapestry segment is the college town. The median age range there is only 26, young folks. And then we've got preferred activities, media, vehicles, all of that good stuff. Now, why is this important? What are we going to do with it? Okay, first off, our buyers are asking us for some information about their location. Naturally, they want to research all of this data before they invest, make sure it's the right fit for them. If we want to package all of the trade area data in one report, you've got your create report option. Click on create reports, grab my trade area template. Right there it says Wilmington. I don't have to change my location. I click continue. All of our reports are going to be laid out in exactly this format. You're going to have the ability to upload your own photo, customize, add your cover page. You can even add custom pages to your reports. So let me remind everybody, when we are looking at reports, they are all going to be formatted the same way, with customization on the top left of your screen being key. So keep this in mind. Customize controls all of this data. So we just looked at the trade area data for Wilmington, North Carolina. We've got the age range. Click on that drop down arrow. There's the median age. There's the population of folks by age. You can take any of this data. Maybe you want to bring home values to the top. You can go ahead and drag and drop any of these data sets, but you can also go in here. Let's say, for instance, population. There's 8 pages pertaining to the population. If you go to the right, click that drop down arrow. Now you can kind of pick and choose the information that's important to you. Population, living in family households, whatever data you want to include or exclude, you can just select or unselect, and it will either appear or be removed. So this is our trade area report. Customization, here's our cover page. Now, the default for the cover page is going to be the map. There's Wilmington, North Carolina. You can change that, though. You don't have to create a report with a map image. You will, however, have to go to your photos, over to the left, add your own photos down here at the bottom, and then edit your cover image. I went ahead and downloaded this pretty picture of the bridge. I edit the cover image, click the little drop, the radio button, and now my visual is set. Remember though, when you are creating reports in RPR, there's the logo that you're going to see unless that brokerage branding has been set up. Now, remember, with all of our reports, the format is the same, but over to the right, you have the ability to save, share, or download. So if I save this guy, I can save it as a draft or as a template. However, all of our reports are dynamic, which means that when you share these reports, they auto update every 48 hours. So look at how easy it was for me to analyze the trade area data for Wilmington, create a beautiful report. I can now copy a link to my website or blog. I could email this report, or I could share it directly to social media. So if you're just looking to grow your business through online marketing, we've got you covered here on our reports. Now let's take a look at, we can click on download, or I've already done that in advance. There's the Wilmington Trade Area Report. There is the attribute summary. Remember the household income, the median age, the total population, and that first dominant segment. So you get in there and practice, but keep this in mind. Remember I said there's a side-by-side view, but as we scroll down, you're getting a full page further analyzing that consumer segment detailed data. Who they are, what's the neighborhood look like, what's the market profile, and what are their socioeconomic traits. All of that in one nice, beautiful report that you can present to your customers. Now let's go home and let me check in with Ernie. We started off with research. Are there any questions on how I analyze the commercial trade area data from our homepage?
Nope, we're following along just perfectly. Thanks, Janelle.
Perfect. Okay, we're going to leap on over marketing. We've got prospecting. I'm going to cover a little bit of that towards the end of class. I want to focus on our reports. On the home page, all of these tabs at the top are static. They'll always be here when you log in. If you don't see them, that means you've navigated away from the home page, and you just kind of click refresh and you'll be back to the home. Now, marketing, we're going to talk about mailing labels in a little bit. I want to take you to the reports. Remember, with your reports, you've got 3 commercial report templates. That's what we're going to be focusing on. A single property report, a trade area report, and your site selection. Now, we've already done a trade area, but we are going to focus on the property and the site selection coming up here in the next few minutes. What I want to do, though, is take you to the RPR report templates and show you that with the 3 different commercial reports, you have a preview option. When you click preview, it's going to show you the data that's going to be included in that report. So for instance, if I generate a report on a single property, this is the data that's going to be included in that report. Obviously, property information, investment details, financial data, traffic counts, we love that, photos, all of these different data sets you can choose to include or exclude. So I wanted to just make sure everybody knew that on the home page, head on over to your reports, click on that drop down, take some time, go to your RPR report templates and preview all of them. Now, the other really cool thing you can do from your reports tab is go to my reports. Over to the left, these are the reports that I've just recently created. There's the trade area report that I created for Wilmington. We're going to get to my property report and my site selection report here in a few minutes. Once we've generated the reports, though, you can go to my reports and edit them, download them. You can share them again to social, copy that link. Just remember, all of these are dynamic. So every 48 hours, as the data changes, the reports will refresh. So that's a quick overview of our reports. Remember this, these are the reports that we generate on our own. These are the RPR report templates that you have access to that you can customize and then save as your own template. So you don't have to constantly reinvent the pages that you want to include on your report. Okay, before we move into some searching, I want to remind everybody that our help desk member support is open 7 days a week. You can call, live chat, you can email them. You've got your learning center. We're going to come back to that a little bit later. We're going to talk about some of the different recordings that you have access to, and also some of our learning materials such as ebooks and step-by-step instructions. And then over to the right, my work. These are all of my listings, my recently searched properties. If I go to my recent properties, notice this guy down here has the mobile app. That means that I was looking at this property on my mobile, but it auto updated to my desktop. So you can see where you're actually looking at properties from the desktop or the mobile. So that's going to be up under my work. So we've covered the home page for the most part. Profile, broker branding, and then the importance of toggling from residential to commercial. This is all on the home page. So let's go ahead and do a quick commercial search. We're going to go ahead and enter in our location. We're going to go back to Wilmington, North Carolina, and I'm going to spell it right this time. And once we enter in our location, you've got all of these different options. Wilmington, not Ohio. Come on, silly. Let's go back to North Carolina. Can you believe it? There it is. Okay, we're going to search for properties in Wilmington, North Carolina. Remember, toggle down to commercial. When we go to our status and type, this is where it gets real interesting. You can search properties that are for sale, for lease, or you can go off market and search the public record database. This is where we're going to build our mailing list. We've got withdrawn, canceled, expired listings. Our property type. All of these different property types can be searched. You can select all, multifamily and land. Sometimes those appear in both commercial and residential. So be sure if you're searching for this property type to keep your options open. We're just going to do a quick retail search. I'm not going to set a price parameter, but I could. I could set a building square footage size. I'm not going to do that. Just for the purpose of time. I also have lot size, acreage, and then over to the right, I have more filters. Does everybody see more filters on the top right of our screen? When I hit more filters, this is where I can go down. I can search distressed inventory. I can search miscellaneous fields. I could filter out owner name, year built, ownership time. I also have keyword searches. So if I have a buyer and they're looking for a gas station or a body shop or a daycare center, those are our most popular keywords. Or you can go ahead and enter in your own keyword or phrase. And as long as that word appears in the body of the listing, you should be good to go. We're going to leave it alone. We're going to go back to the top. We're just going to look for retail space in Wilmington, North Carolina. I'm going to go over to the right, update and search. Now, whenever we are on the search results, we're looking at these properties. You've got your search results, 44 properties. Over to the right, you have 3 views. This is our list view. There you go. I've got them sorted by price, but you could sort them by days on market. You can sort them by square footage. I'm going to leave it alone for price. You can see these guys here at 10,500,000. Wouldn't that be a fun sale? You also notice that this property at 1003 South 17th Street says multiple listings. That means if I click on it, it's showing me that it is not only listed in, let's say, I think it was Brevitas. Yeah, Brevitas as well as the local MLS. So you can see that this property is listed in multiple places. And how do we know that? Because it says multiple listings. So we've got 44 properties. We've got 3 views. This is the list view. Then to the right of that is our side-by-side view. I love a good side-by-side view. And with every one of these properties, you could click on the address and get the entire picture of that listing. The third view that you have when you're searching properties in RPR is our map view. And I'm a big map girl. I love the map. Lots and lots of cool tools here. Whenever you're looking at an RPR map, you have geographies, 15 different geographical overlays that you could apply to the map. Opportunity zones, zip codes, school districts. You can search in any one of these geographical locations, and you can even search in multiple. So if you want multiple zip codes, you can go ahead and do so there. Then over to the right, we have all of these map tools. Remember, every map that you see in RPR is going to have the geographies and these tools. So let's take a look at some of these map tools. I got my view. I can change it from a road view to the satellite view. I can see there's my subject property that we're going to analyze right there on the map. I can zoom out and I can see how far away it is from the water there. There's the view. I can change that to the aerial view. That's going to give me some additional points of interest, some road signs, things like that. And then I'm going to go back to my road view. I also have a terrain if you are interested in analyzing the terrain. Now let's go back to our road view. I can draw on the map. I have freehand, radius, polygon. My favorite though is our driving tool. If you want to set up a search for a buyer, you can search by travel time, distance, and this is where we're going to look at the traffic counts. If I click on traffic counts, I click on apply, check it out. All of a sudden, all of these little triangles represent the daily traffic counts for this location. I'm going to get rid of that. Points of interest, school data, data layers. Check this out. These data layers, I can add demographic indicators. I can access flood zones. Let's see if that'll come up. Sometimes it takes a few moments for the flood zones to start to populate. And if you're like me in Florida, the flood zones are a major, major variable for investors. We'll clear that guy out and just let you know that sometimes it takes a few moments for those to pop up. Okay, so we're on the map. Remember the 3 views. We found 44 properties that are actively listed for sale, not for lease, in Wilmington. So now what I want to do is take you to one of those properties and analyze it. And for this presentation, I thought Scotty and Kathy Pleasant were good property owners to take a peek at. I click on View Full Details. Now I've got the entire listing page. I've got my map. I've got my trade area data, and I even have the ability to add my own updates. For my eyes only, if I click on my updates, I want to add notes. I could type in some notes. I could add my own photos. Now this agent, remember, anything that you do with my updates is for your eyes only. You can include that in your reports, but it is not something that other RPR users will ever see. So there's our property information, 605 Eastwood Road in Wilmington. It's got a list price of $599, came on the market February 20th of 2025. It closed back in 2017 for $245. It's retail space, it's zoning. I've got the owner name, I've got the year built, and I've got the days in RPR. Okay, let's scroll down. There's the description. This realtor did a fabulous job of uploading the photos. Looks like this was maybe a retail space that was once residential and now has been converted into some retail space. So we can kind of scroll through and see all of the different photos. You can see the nearby landmarks. There's the description of our property, approximately 100 by 200 lot. Over to the right is my map again. So let's click on the map. There's the subject property, and anytime we're looking at our map, we are going to have all of these tools again. So if I click on the driving tool, there's my traffic counts. So if I want to analyze the traffic specifically for this subject property, click on the driving tool, grab my count, click on apply, and if my buyer is interested in buying this property, 36,000 cars per day are traveling by. So that's pretty cool. Now on North Cardinal, only 15,000 cars, but this is a pretty good location for a retail investor. Now, at the beginning of class, I also mentioned parking. This guy here, we can change the view. We can look at the satellite view and we can kind of zoom in. And because this is land, we're not going to get a real clear picture, but you can see when you are analyzing commercial properties and you start looking at the satellite view, it's going to show you a lot. Looks like these are boats. It looks like maybe a boat warehouse or something like that is in that area. Okay, let's go back, change our view. Whoops, I didn't want to do that. Let's go back here to our view. We're going to go to our road view, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit and just remind everybody that when we're looking at the map, you've got your data layers. Points of interest is right there on the bottom right. So let's say, for instance, our retail investor wants to know where the local restaurants and bars are. We can click on that. The map's going to populate with nearby points of interest. So let's prove it. There's my subject property. And here, right across the street, we've got a little cafe. We've got Allah. I love Maine lobster. So those are all of the nearby restaurants and bars in relation to our subject property. Okay, I'm going to close this guy out. I'm going to clear it and I'm going to pause and I'm going to ask Ernie, do we have questions that I can answer live?
No, we are doing very good. We had a question about the data partners, and I put a link into the chat with a how-to guide about the data partners. So yeah, we've got data coming from many, many sources. So it's a very robust system.
Absolutely. And for this property, remember, we started off looking at trade area data from our research, but I mentioned that you can access the trade area data from an actively listed property or an off-market property. So if I click on the trade area there, now I'm looking again at the attribute summary for Wilmington. There's my household income, the median age, that segment for the college towns, and our total population. So just keep that in mind. Whenever you're looking at commercial real estate in RPR, you can always analyze the trade area from an actively listed property or an off-market property. Now with 605 Eastwood, let's just scroll down. We looked at the map. I wanted to talk to you about additional resources. I mentioned them at the beginning. You've got Valuate, you've got Crexi, CompStack. This is where you could go in and research recently sold and leased comps. Realtors enter in their recent sold and leased properties, and this is a great way for you to analyze what's going on in that area. So all you have to do is create your CompStack account and then log in, and it's a direct connection right from RPR to that platform. I mentioned Climate Check, First Street. If I click on Climate Check, it's going to take me to a complete climate risk report showing me the extreme heat risk, relatively high rain, pretty significant fire risk, low drought, and low flood. So you see this climate risk analysis is specific to my property, 605 Eastwood Road. Okay, so those additional resources will be accessible from a subject property. To the left of my additional resources is my property facts compared to the public records. So there's my listing data. Already, I see something that's off. The square footage in the public record says 1852. The listing fact says 1872. Property features, there's the listing agent over to the right, Keith Austin. Here's his Crexi listing, the office name, agent remarks. Basically, this is a vacant lot that he is working on selling. Property features, now if there were tenant information, you'd find that just below the public record data. Ownership facts, there's Scotty and Kathy, they live there or they own this property. There's the legal description, we certainly need that for our offer. Here's our current listing listed for $599, and then we've got our previous listing back in 2017. We could even click on this listing ID and see what it looked like way back then. Public record data, we've got deed and tax information. All of this is going to help you when you're getting ready to present an offer, or your client, I should say, is getting ready to present an offer. Now, if we want to take all of this data and apply it to a report, click on Create Report, top right of our screen. And now it knows that we're analyzing this property. So it's given me that property template. Single family, a single address. I click on Continue, and exactly the same format is going to come up. My customization on the top left, There's my cover page. There's the map. Remember though, you can also get rid of the cover page. If you don't like our cover page, you can unselect this and you can add your own custom page. You can make your own cover page. So I'm going to go back to customize. I'm going to leave my cover page because I like it. But when we go into our customization, this is all of the data. Remember, we can drag and drop. I can look at the traffic counts, show the map, and there's all my traffic counts for that 605 Eastwood. There we go. 36,021. And if you don't want traffic counts, what are you going to do? You're just going to unselect that and get it out of your report. Okay, so just like we did with the trade area report, we can save, share, or download. We've got our share button. We can copy the link, we can email it, or we can post it to our website or to social media. Now let's go take a look at what this report looks like. How are we going to find that? We're going to go back to our reports tab on our home page. I'm going to go over to my reports on the top left. And there is my single property report for Eastwood. I'll click on download and it's going to pop up for me. Or I've already downloaded it in advance and there it is. Beautiful. All of that great pertinent listing data, public record data, all of it packaged in one report. And remember, you guys can always add your own custom pages. All right, how are we doing out there? Are there questions? We have about 7 minutes and I want to get through the site selection. Are we good out there?
We are good.
Okay, so just to recap, we were on our commercial platform. We went to Wilmington, North Carolina. We looked for retail space. We looked at 44 properties. We saw them on the map. I can see them in a side-by-side view. And again, let's look at Carolina Beach. We'll look at this Walgreens that's for sale. Now this guy, 5900 Carolina Beach, it's actively listed for 5.7 million. Guess what? There's my trade area data again. And then if I want to scroll down, I can actually look, go back to my property and scroll down. There's the map. So all this cool information, and anything in yellow is going to be for lease. So you can see nearby, there's 2 commercial properties that are currently available for lease. Okay, let's go do an off-market search. I'm going to show you how to create a geographic farm list, and I'm going to do that in 3 minutes. And then I'm going to show you how to do that site selection. So stick with me for a few more minutes. Let's go to Wilmington, North Carolina. For our geographic farm list, we have to go off-market. For that, we go over to our status and type. We get rid of properties that are for sale, and we shift gears to our public records database. Now, for this particular part of my presentation, instead of retail, I'm going to look for multifamily units. This is a good farm list if you're trying to grow your business and maybe you just want to market to multifamily owners. Seems like a good idea to me. Pick whatever property type you're looking to market to. I selected multifamily. I could select a price range. Maybe I don't want to market to properties that are valued more than $1 million. I could enter that in. Now, this is valuation. This is not list price because this is off-market data. So if I select properties that are valued under 1.5 million, I can do that here, or I could just leave that off. I could also go over to my more filters. And when we're building a geographic farm list and we go to more filters, pro tip here, guys, we do not want to reach out to property owners that have bought in the last 5 years. They're not ready to sell. Statistically, they are going to hold on to those properties for at least 10 to 15 years. So for that reason, I'm going to go down to ownership time. Select 10 to 15 years, update and search. That's not what I wanted to do. Let's go ahead and get rid of this price range. Try that one more time. And see if that happens. Let's try it one more time because this morning I did it. There it goes. Okay, so 183 properties. Now, remember, you're on your search results. What does that mean? You're always going to see your 3 views. So there's all 183 properties on the map. If I don't want to create a farm list with 183 properties, I can use my map tools and I could draw a little circle around the area I want to market to. I'm going to just go on the assumption that we're going to stick with our 183 properties. You also can see them on that side-by-side view, and you can also see that they're all multifamily properties, okay, all off market. Now, to create the mailing labels. Anytime we're on our search results, there's your mailing labels, there's your print option, and then your report options. Let's go ahead and take a look at our mailing labels. You've got three layout. You have a layout, a customization, and a filter. You also, remember, get 2,000 mailing labels per month. So for commercial, you can choose whether you want to enter this into an Excel spreadsheet. You can even kick it old school and put the labels in the printer. You can customize these. Obviously, it's commercial. We want to go ahead and send them to the tax billing address, not necessarily the property. And then we can go down here and we can exclude listed properties and properties that are on the do not mail list. We ended up with 158 off-market properties. They're all owned. They're all multifamily units. And I can click print. And there they are. There's my mailing labels. Magdi and Robert. Look at this fella. He lives in New Hampshire. Perfect candidate for me to reach out to or include as part of my geographic farm area. Now that was fast. I'm not gonna lie. I went through that pretty quick. So let me refresh. Location. Make sure if you're going off market, you change it from for sale to public records. Select your multifamily units or whatever property type you want. We could do this for retail space. We could do it for office space. And then make sure you go to your more filters. I am a big fan of the 10 to 15 year window because that's what NAR tells us is the hot spot for timing of getting ready to sell. Update and search, and there we go. Okay, Ernie, do you think I can get through a site selection in less than 2 minutes? I'm going to show you how I can do it. So we're going to go to...
I think it'll take 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay, that's perfect. Let's click on research, and we're going to show you my favorite thing, the commercial site selection tool. We're going through this kind of quickly because this is something we typically cover in our more advanced class. But since I've got you here, let's go ahead and run one. We are going to go in and enter in our location. We're going to start off in Wilmington again. And I'm going to pretend that my buyer is interested in opening up a med spa. Now, med spa is a place where the ladies like to visit. Maybe they get some facials and what have you. Step 2 for our commercial site selection process is to choose up to 5 attributes. So think about that. If I'm opening up a med spa, who am I trying to attract? We start off with the who. We're looking for women. We're going to go with our gender. That little Boston accent came out there. Gender, we're going to check females. We're going to start back with our second attribute, adding another criteria. This time, our females, we want them to be a certain age. Who are they? So we can go in, select the attribute, age. When we select age, we're getting all of these different options. But I'm looking for my middle-aged ladies, right? Middle-aged ladies that have a lot of money. So there's my middle-aged. If you don't know what that means, ask me and Ernie, people between the ages of 40 and 59. We say okay to that. Now we're going to add 2 more criteria. The next one, what do they buy? Well, when we select what they buy, you've got travel, clothes, food. I'm going with personal care products. I want the ladies of a certain age that spend money on themselves. Then I'm going to add 1 more criteria, and that is going to be how much money do they have? So for that, when I select who they are, my attribute is now going to be income. Select that. I don't want median. I don't want average. I want high disposable income by percentage. These folks have at least more than $50,000 in disposable income a year. I select okay, and then I run the analysis. And guess what? In less than 10 seconds, we're going to get a map of Wilmington, and all of these beautiful dark purple areas are prime locations for my med spa to thrive. Now, I don't know about Echo East, never been there, but 55% of the folks that live there are women, 20% are middle-aged. They spend about $1,000 a year on personal care products, and 61% of those folks have high disposable income. You guys know your market. You probably know, yeah, this particular Seagate South, high disposable income, 71%. So now you could take all of this information, select it all. I could begin searching for listings in these areas, or I could create that report. Again, When I click on create report, there's my site selection. All I have to do is click continue, and all of that great data for Wilmington is now available for me. The site selection, my cover page, I can add custom pages. Let's take a look at our finished product. Look at that. There is those perfect pockets in Wilmington for my med spa. Not only is it showing me the where, but it's also showing me the why. Why is Seagate South prime for my med spa? So you can go ahead and download that, share it, save it. You can search for listings in those areas. And then your finished product is going to be your site selection report for Wilmington, North Carolina, and all of that great data. Well, there we did it. We went a few minutes over, Ernie, but what do you think? Do we have questions that I can answer that are outstanding? I'm happy to stay on if you guys need me to.
No, it's been pretty quiet, but very engaged. I mean, people are really curious about this and can't wait to get on board and start using it.
We sure did pack a lot into an hour. I appreciate you staying on with me a couple extra minutes. Lou, how are you doing out there? I haven't heard from you in a minute.
Doing great. That was fantastic, Janelle. I learned a lot and excited about putting it to use. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm just going to leave you guys with this. Remember, on our Learning Center, notice we never saw one ad. Nothing popped up here. Go down and view more ways to learn. If you're interested in learning more about our AI tools, anything to do with commercial, maybe you want to learn more about that investment analysis tool, go to your topics, select investment analysis. Anything that we have previously recorded will pop up. Tutorials, webinars, ebooks, all of that is available for you on that Learning Center. All right, Lou. Thank you so much. Denise, thank you for having me today. Any other questions?
No, we are good.
Thanks again, Janelle. Thank you to everybody who tuned in today. I hope everybody got a lot out of this. I know you did.
Thank you so much for having me, and hopefully I'll see you in future classes, and have a great week, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.